So, we have two new chapters, this time for Chainsaw Man in this video, 149 and 150. And I think I'm going to stick to this format of doing two chapters for every video, especially because the content in Chainsaw Man chapters is just so short. It only equates to like 5 or 6 minutes worth of content. It also eases up on my schedule and I can focus on getting other chapters of other manga done as well. But this will only be happening with Chainsaw Man, the rest of my content will be individual chapters. Anyway, as always, please like and subscribe, it really helps this small channel grow, and I really appreciate all of your support, it's making my dream come true. Now, getting into it, chapter 149 of Chainsaw Man called Devil's Choice, and it starts off with a man screaming that he foretold what's happening and he knew that the devils and humans would go to war. He continues that this disaster is divine retribution and begs a group of people on the street to join him in slaying the Chainsaw Man army. People start to join in the chanting and get riled up, marching through the street in order to find any Chainsaw Man followers to burn. Denji, Nayata and Fumiko hide inside an alleyway peering at the crowd on the street. Fumiko remarks that this looks as if it's out of an apocalypse movie, and Denji interjects that as it's an emergency he'll actually break out the chainsaws if they're ever in danger. But Fumiko disregards Denji's words, saying that this is the worst time to change into Chainsaw Man, and if the crowd saw him then they'd burn Denji to a crisp. Well, first of all Fumiko, Denji's fucking strong. I highly doubt this immediate group of humans would be able to take him out. And second of all, Denji is actually considering changing into Chainsaw Man now. And that's a surprise. I thought he'd be more fearful of the repercussions it would have on Nayata's safety, but I'm guessing since all hell's broken loose, it doesn't matter now. Fumiko then reassures Denji and Nayata that she'll protect them, but Nayata asserts that they don't need her protection and that she's stronger than her, being able to kill anything that attacks them. Fumiko looks down and asks if it includes humans. Nayata boldly states, no, duh, humans are a weak source compared to devils. Fumiko looks at Denji asking what he's been teaching her, but he responds saying whatever's on educational TV. And Denji then seems to remember something. He blurts out that he's worried about the apartment and Nayata seems to agree, saying that the pets are hungry. Denji then announces that they've got to go home, but Fumiko is clearly not happy with this decision, expressing that the church freaks are already for sure watching his apartment. But Denji isn't listening, stating again that the pets are totally waiting to be fed. Nayata says let's hurry and they turn to leave, but Fumiko jumps in front of them, asserting that she can't let them go home and that she can shelter them at a public safety facility. There's a standoff moment before Nayata shoots a chain out of the tip of her finger, barely missing Fumiko's head, and lands inside a window before going taut. But this was part of Nayata's plan, as we see the chain go through an old woman's head. The woman, now under Nayata's control, breaks through the window, grabbing Fumiko by the neck. She struggles, but Denji ingeniously tickles Nayata, making her giggle and laugh. The old woman stops grabbing Fumiko and stands idly, making her fall to the floor coughing. Denji, still tickling Nayata, suddenly shouts at Fumiko to run. He states that they can manage on their own and if Fumiko stays, Nayata will kill her for real. They share a look before she takes off running and disappears behind a corner. Denji lets Nayata go and she says okay, let's head home now, but Denji then asks her if she really tried to kill Fumiko just then. She doesn't answer at first, but then says that it's fine for devils to kill any living being. She continues, fish swim, trees photosynthesize, it's the same thing, and asks Denji if he feels it too, the instinct to hurt people which makes you feel alive. Denji and Nayata both look at each other, and she goes on to ask Denji if he wants to join the devil's side with her. Denji exclaims that she can't be serious, but Nayata reveals that she gave it a lot of thought. Human culture is fun but suffocating. If they ruled over people as devils, they could eat whatever they want, own every cat breed, or even 100 dogs. Honestly, it's a very sinister situation that's happening here. Nayata is getting back her control devil urges, wanting to rule the world. But at the same time, it's kinda cute since all she wants is to eat whatever and own as many cute animals as they can. It's such a weird mix of Makima and this childlike sensibility she now has. But going on, Denji asks her what about her friends at school. But Nayata doesn't seem to care if they die and states to Denji that she's all he needs. They then stare at each other again And I know Fujimoto loves to do these reaction panels, but sometimes it does feel like it's wasting time. I mean, I'm probably too used to other manga, like One Piece, where every single panel is used to the fullest in order to tell the story, which can almost suffocate you sometimes, so I guess this gives it room to breathe, but like I said in a previous video, that kind of breathing room is better when you can read each chapter consecutively rather than weekly or bi-weekly. Anyway, this specific reaction panel is important because it compels Nayata to ask Denji if he just thought about Asa Mitaka right now. She then goes on to question why Asa is important to him and why he risked his life for her and doesn't understand why. He then meekly states that it's because they kissed. Nayata responds that's it, and Denji continues revealing that he's kissed a bunch of times up until now, but it normally goes horribly wrong. But when he kissed Asa, it was the one time he didn't get her. Which is honestly so sweet. Denji deserves an actual good person to be with since he's been hurt so much. I don't know if Asa is the right person since she did try to kill him, and she has more of a fascination with Chainsaw Man than Denji, but there are hints that Asa at least feels respect and fondness towards Denji, and I just hope that the War Devil Yoro doesn't get in the way. Nayata then asks if he likes her, and he ponders for a moment before using his hands to show the amount he likes Asa. Nayata then asks what about herself, and Denji widens his arms, indicating he likes Nayata an even bigger amount. She smiles and jumps on Denji, wrapping her arms around him. Now excited, Nayata says fine, she won't kill humans, and points down the alleyway, expressing they need to hurry home. And the chapter ends there, but don't worry, because we are going to dive right into the next one and continue the story. So this chapter 150 is called Dream's Next Stage, and it starts off back at the alleyway with Denji and Nayata. They stroll through the alley, peering through to the street every now and again, and surprisingly, they see normal people and normal families still roaming the streets. Nayata comments on this, questioning how people are going to work despite the war and that it feels like an ordinary day, regardless of the dead bodies in the distance. This surprises them both, and Nayata says that she might have to go to school tomorrow. Denji is reminded of his normal life, eating, going to school, taking care of Nayata and the dogs, and seems distant, almost as if he's not looking forward to it. He continues carrying Nayata and thinks to himself that he's got to get back to his ordinary life, his life he's always dreamed of. He doesn't need to be Chainsaw Man. Hear that, POCHITA? He's finally super happy with his ordinary life. He then accidentally steps on a crow, and this startles Denji, disrupting his thoughts. He looks back at the bird and imagines POCHITA rolling around and getting up to face a now young Denji. POCHITA speaks, saying that their dream has come true, and Denji responds that he knows. POCHITA then says, "Okay Denji, what will you dream of next?" And Denji is stunned, questioning the little devil. POCHITA continues to ask what's Denji's next dream. Maybe lots of girlfriends, or maybe lots of money? And young Denji stutters. Next, and he reveals that he wants to be, in fact, Chainsaw Man. The scene moves to them arriving at their house that is now completely burning. Nayata screams, and we see a little figure of fucking Barum standing in front of it. I knew he'd do this shit. Denji and Nayata are almost in tears at the loss of their pets, and Denji rushes forward towards the house, and Nayata shouts after him. Suddenly, a foot trips him over and he crashes to the floor. He gets up and looks over to where Barum is stood, staring up at the fire. Barum says that if you're gonna burn someone, it's gotta be family, and that he figured killing Asa wouldn't fire Denji up as much since he barely knows her, and he continues, saying that the cats and dogs in Denji's house seemed more flammable. Denji, infuriated at this, stares menacingly at Barum, and just before something seems like it's going to happen to Denji, Barum suddenly gets shot multiple times, hitting him square in the head and shoulders. We see Fumiko and a bunch of other public safety officers continuing to fire on Barum, and Fumiko shouts to continuing firing specifically at his head and hands because his devil transformation trigger is a molar. Suddenly, a figure jumps down behind the group and then whips them, splitting one guy apart and sending the rest flying. I mean, thank God that wasn't Fumiko that got killed. I did get scared there. But The chapter ends there with the last panel showing the devil hybrid laughing. And this devil is the unnamed whip devil hybrids. A little anticlimactic since we don't know her name, but what we do know is that she was the hybrid that Makima took control of among the other hybrids to fight the awakened form of Chainsaw Man at the end of part 1. We have seen her human form and a little bit of her in part 2 when she joined the Chainsaw Man church under Baram, and a little bit in chapter 143 before she was swiftly decapitated by Quan Chi, and boy does she love cutting people's heads off. Hopefully we get her name, but I really doubt it since she's more likely going to be fodder for when Chainsaw Man returns. And yes, I do think Chainsaw Man will return. It's hinted at so much now, and Denji himself said he just wants to be Chainsaw Man. I think this was developed so well. Denji living the normal life he wanted, and now that chaos has turned the world almost upside down, he doesn't want to go back to being normal, because it's repetitive and boring. He's always wanted to be Chainsaw Man, and that's who he is. I do love how POCHITA finally makes a comeback, since it's almost like he disappeared off the face of the planet when Denji stopped turning into Chainsaw Man. So it's really nice that Denji has a moment with him and acknowledged that POCHITA is still looking out for him. I am also super happy that POCHITA wants to continue making Denji's dream come true, and it's not just a one-off, which just makes this silly little guy a lot more cuter. But it's coming to the end of this video, and I just wanted to say thank you for stopping by. My channel is steadily growing and I'm amazed at the support I'm getting, and I also have a Patreon now, so feel free to support me however you like. The link will be in the description, and I will shout out names at the end of each video. Anyway, subscribe! Okay, see ya.